Oh, okay. Well, hi everyone. Um, that's a little awkward because we were actually supposed to start with media. So if you give us 1 second, here we go. We're gonna let some people join in really quickly. Hello, everyone. Caught me a little off guard there. My name is Eno, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, clouds of all ages. Welcome to the most entertaining and most informative and most wholesome stream in crypto. The Sanctum Forecast is hosted every Wednesday around 1400 UTC. And again, I am your host, Eno. I just joined Sanctum 15 days ago and is still absolutely blowing my mind how fast the cloud devs think, how fast the cloud devs make decisions, and how fast the cloud devs ship. I'm hosting today's show live from Hong Kong. Albus and I, Albus is right here actually, just hosted PayFi Summit over in Hong Kong. PayFi makes a lot of sense for Solana because PayFi essentially unlocks the time value of your money. So what that essentially means, it's exactly the creator coin thesis, right? Like if you have Sol that's worth more today than it is tomorrow, and you can earn yield on that Sol and then use that Sol to pay for all sorts of things, whether it be creator subscription, interchange fee, and a whole ecosystem of products and services are coming to Solana. So let's address the elephant in the room before we start. It's been pretty crazy on the timeline, right? Things have kind of blown up. And my message to the larger community here is that we need less noise and more signal. We here at Sanctum are unequivocal supporters of the Jupiter team, and we absolutely believe that there was no impropriety over there. We're really looking forward to just like bringing back the vibes and focusing on fundamentals, right? So what exactly does fundamentals mean? Well, for fundamentals, we're talking about delightful product. We're talking about the best community, right? So let's get a little bit more into that. Here we go. Oops. Technical difficulties. So yes, for the fundamentals, we're focused on delightful products. We're focused on the most earnest community. And at the Sanctosphere, there are three core focuses. There's Sanctum, the platform. There's Cloud, the token, and then there's the family, right, which includes governance. And usually for this slide, we say like, we're here to celebrate, as one big family. But I really feel like for this week, the most appropriate tone is that we're here to support each other as one big family. Obviously, the entire market has been pretty brutal, and I understand that there are a lot of sad clouds out there. In fact, I get a lot of messages on Telegram. I got a lot of messages on X, on Twitter, from people who are really feeling down. And I hear you, and I see all your comments, and I see all your messages. And if I have time, and I usually do, I reach out to each of you individually. In fact, if there are any other sad clouds out there, we here at the Sanctum family, CW, I'm about to put you on, we here at Sanctum are here to listen to you and to hear you, and we totally get that this is a rough time. But one thing that I'd like to say is that, we if you're hyper focused on short-term price action, you should rotate into long-term fundamentals, right? So again, fundamentals means delightful product. Fundamentals also means the best community, right? And that's way more fun. And if you do the fundamentals right correctly, then when vibes are back, right, you will be correctly positioned, to take advantage of that. So we don't talk about cloud price specifically here. What we talk about is the fundamentals, because that at the end of the day is what really matters. CW, do you have any words for any sad clouds out there? Like anything we can say as just some moral support, make them feel a little better?
I agree. And I think before that, just sort of like a disclaimer, again, like not financial advice, right? But I think whatever you said, not financial advice, but it's sort of like putting across how we build products and how we are thinking about our long-term roadmap at Sanctum, right? It's that we focus on fundamentals, we focus on working with people who are earnest and partners who really care about users, right? And we focus on solving like real world user problems, right? And I know that the past few days have been very noisy on Twitter, right? And it has been honestly like just chaos, right? But again, I don't think this is not the first time that we have experienced this, right? This is not the first time that we have seen this happen in crypto, right? So again, I think builders in Solana, as well as the earnest community in Solana, will tide through this, right? And again, like if you guys have got anything that you need help with, right, feel free to reach out to any of us at Sanctum, right? We are here to really support and here to show that we're here to stay for the long term.
Yeah. Actually, CW, like, how long have you been building on Solana for?
We started this back in like 2021.
Yeah. And back then you guys were called Socian, right?
Yeah.
And if you started in 2021, it means that you went through the FTX crash. And obviously that was a very, very traumatic event for the Solana community. And even at that time, the vibes were extremely low and FUD was at an all-time high. Could you talk a little bit more about your memories of what it was like post, I think it was Breakpoint in Lisbon in 2022. Like, I think it happened exactly during Breakpoint,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Could you explain, kind of what the community vibes were at that time?
It definitely was a huge shock to the system, right? And also like I think our team internally as well. But once we sort of like got past that shock phase, to be honest, I think I might be the exception here, right? It got like much quieter and it got actually much easier to build, right? So I think from the builder's perspective, like there's less noise that you need to sieve through, right? And it's easy to sort of like see who are here to stay for the long term, who are here that really wants to solve like long-term problems, right? And it's easy to find partners and builders to work with, right? At the same time, it's also easy to find users that really have strong fundamentals and believe in Solana, right? Sort of like, and this is just noise. This is sort of like a big shock to the system, but we'll tide through it, right? So I might be the exception because I do know that most people find, I mean, they have been like gravely affected by whatever happened during FTX, right? But on the flip side, I'm sort of like the silver lining to that is it was actually, to me, like far easier to sort of like lock in and build.
Yeah, like we are in no way, shape, or form saying that, we're happy that FTX happened. It was a
For sure, yeah.
horrible, horrible, horrible event. However, like one thing that we noticed is that the people who are still building on Solana after FTX were a different type of founder, right?
For sure.
And the community members that stayed and supported projects during that time were a different type of community member. They were just built different. And
Yeah.
objectively, if you look at the facts, at that time with the information that we had, I mean, there were many legitimate reasons to FUD Solana at that time, right? So, like, some of these reasons include, FTX, most of the Solana ecosystem projects, many of them, the top ones, funded by FTX,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What also, like, some of the biggest holder of Solana, like one of the biggest holders was FTX, right?
Yeah.
Clear impropriety by the FTX team. And I forgot their market maker. Do you remember the name of their market maker?
No.
I'm forgetting. But my point being is that there were real reasons to FUD Solana at that time, and people still stayed. In fact, in my own personal experience, like we launched our stablecoin on Solana literally months after FTX. And everybody looked at us and said, like, what's wrong with you? And at our first hacker house, when we launched the stablecoin, do you remember that Solana had an outage in early 2023?
Yep. Yeah.
It happened during the Vietnam hacker house. And I just remember thinking like, oh no, did we make a mistake? Like people warned us like we shouldn't be launching on Solana. But then when I got to the hacker house and I was talking to by the way, Vietnam hacker house, even during the outage, post FTX, completely full. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of both builders and community members showed up. And that's magic, right? Like that's real magic. So I am not trying to make light of anyone's pain at this moment in time. If you're feeling pain in this moment, like I hear you, I feel you, and I get it. Like I really do. But really, the thing that brought Solana back was hardcore development of the protocol. It was builders who were continuing to build on the chain. It was stellar community members who continued to believe, and not just believe, but contribute, right? And now, Solana's down today like to what, 170, $165, and we're not talking about price here. But seriously, guys, like it was when I started, on Solana, it was $18, and CW saw it crash like to under 10, right? So all I'm trying to say here, this is not a price discussion, is that we're focusing on the fundamentals historically has worked. And we believe that's the game plan, and that's what really adds the most value. So again, we're here to support like any sad cloud out there, who needs an ear or actually just wants to scream at me. I'm okay with being screamed at. I'm okay with that. I can take that pain from you and listen to you. And even if you're still angry at the end of it, I hope that you feel heard, and that I hope you feel like there's somebody on the team. I mean, we all care and everyone's very busy, but as governance and community lead, it is my job to make sure that you feel heard. So I'm sorry for spending so much time on this. Like we will move on to more
No, this is a very
exciting things
important
that are
point, right?
yeah. But I just really feel like, I'm feeling a lot of pain on the timeline. And I just, I just want people to know that we care. We super care. So yeah, I don't know. I won't belabor the point. CW, if you have any last words before we move on here, I'd love to move on to, maybe some happier weather.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think just as a reminder again, we will all like tide through this, right? Like this is just sort of like a blip in sort of like our time here on Solana.
Yeah. Okay. CW, I will bring you back on in just a second. And
No
I'll
problems.
see you soon. I will stop kicking people off. I think it's giving off the wrong vibe. I'm not in a power trip. I
Not for
love
this
you.
week, maybe not for this week.
No, not for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some other updates. FP is not going to be joining us this week. He's over at Mountain DAO. He's doing a lot of advocacy on our behalf, and also obviously there's a lot of BD, both that I'm doing in Hong Kong, and FP, as well as some of the other team, are doing over in Salt Lake City, over in Utah. So, builders always be building, and we're always pushing Sanctum forward. We can't disclose everything, but I can definitely say that progress is being made, at least on the BD and building relationships front. So here's today's agenda. The first agenda is something that I renamed Bing Bang Boom to Lightning Strike. So essentially, what Lightning Strike is we're going to cover the latest and greatest product updates on not not Solana, on Sanctum. But you know what? Sanctum is Solana, and Solana is Sanctum. So I don't feel even bad about saying that. The second thing that we're going to be covering is iCloud. You guys might be noticing that on the timeline, the main account, as well as many community members, have taken to typing iCloud you in the comments, as well as in their posts. It's really how we feel. We cloud you very, very much. And during that section, we'll be talking to some community members, some folks that we've been talking to this week, and just kind of demonstrating just how serious we are about taking community and listening to community, deeply. And lastly, we want to talk about governance updates, right? There's obviously a lot of updates with regards to governance, especially if you attended the impromptu cloud governance corner that we had on Sunday. It just happened out of nowhere based on community feedback. Definitely we'll be covering all the stuff that we talked about there. But first and foremost, we're going to start with Lightning Strike. All right, so we're going to bring back onto the stage CW. So CW, I'm starting with our most tame update for today. I'm really excited for this though. I think it's really necessary tooling. Is there anything you want to say before we do the big announcement?
No, go for it. Let's go for it.
Okay. So look, this is another example of how cracked the devs are, right? So I was talking to the cloud dev on our team who was directly responsible for building this feature, and again, he did it in 5 days. Just 5 days.
One man,
he
5
got it all
days.
done. Yeah. I mean, I think he got a little bit of help here and there, but really it was one person pushing it. You can look at the GitHub repo, which we will share in just a little bit. You can look at the GitHub repo and see for yourself the commits. This is all open source, and people are just like, what is it? It's in the title of the forecast. It's the Sanctum Block Rewards CLI. So CLI stands for Command Line Interface, and essentially what that is in a terminal. I don't know how many people here know how to code in the audience, but in a terminal I want to call them libraries, but you can download certain CLI libraries that give you custom commands for your terminal, right? So this Sanctum Block Rewards CLI is actually built for validators, right? So you guys might remember last week we launched validator LSTs permissionlessly. We increased the amount of LSTs issued by Sanctum from around 100 to over 1,000, 200, 300. Absolutely insane. We 10x'd the amount of validator LSTs that we have. And the thing is, what we're trying to do is prove that LSTs are strictly better than native staking, right? And why? Because currently it's quite hard to share block rewards. Actually, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to go into the specifics. I'm really sorry. But yes, there's a Sanctum Block Rewards CLI, and I'm sure many people in the audience are already kind of lost. What the hell is this? I'm going to allow CW to kind of talk about it a little bit. And CW, I've listed the 2 benefits that we talked about earlier about the Sanctum Block Rewards CLI.
Yeah, so this CLI is something that we have just made public, right? And this is we're releasing this as an open source tool, right? So this is something that you can go to our GitHub repo now and install and start using. And this is targeted for validator operators, right? Why we did this is to follow up from the launch of our more than 1,000 validator LSTs that we launched last week, right? So again, we launched these 1,000 LSTs because we believe that liquid staking is a strictly better way to stake your soul than native staking, and potentially the other options out there as well, right? And why? I mean, there are many sort of benefits of liquid staking that we all most already know, right? But I think following the release of SIMD 96, block rewards was really a hot topic on Solana, right? And so block rewards is one of the main reasons one of the main reasons why we think liquid staking is a better alternative than native staking, right? Because liquid staking, LSTs, give allows validators to easily share their block rewards to their liquid stakers, right? And then in exchange, liquid stakers obviously get higher yields on their stake, right? So this CLI follows from the 1,000 validator LSTs that we have launched, right? And this CLI is an open source tool that allows validators to do two very important things very easily now, right? So the first thing is that it allows you to compute and check how much you have earned or how much you have made in block rewards for any given epoch, right? For validators, right? And the second thing is that we allow you to very easily share these block rewards with your liquid stakers, right? By simply transferring those block rewards into the reserve account of your stake pool, right? And just by doing these two things, right, easily compute, easily share, right? This is, I think, a 10x validator like dev UX experience over native staking, right? Again, this is not any big fancy tooling that we have spent months building, right? It's one guy, 5 days, obviously thoroughly checked by the entire team, right? But this is completely open source. Take a look at the code, right? Have a go and let us know what you think. Again, our goal here is to make it as easy as possible to operate an LST, right? Both for the validators, right, and also both for the stakers as well, right? Enjoying the LSTs and enjoying the high and boosted APY that you should be having, especially after SIMD 96.
Yeah. So again, this is a public service announcement to all validators. Hi, this is the Sanctum team. We've built a utility for you. It is a Sanctum block rewards CLI built just for you. Currently, it's very hard for you guys to compute block rewards for each epoch. And it's also hard for you to configure your block rewards. How much of your block rewards do you want to pass on to your LST? Do you want to pass on 50%, 80%? You can do all the way up to 100% because with the changes with SIMD 96, priority fees now have obviously doubled from 50% to 100%. So you can use the Sanctum block rewards CLI to easily compute your block rewards for each epoch as well as configure block rewards. So, what does this mean for like the Sanctum? I know that you have a call in 2 minutes. You've made it very explicit that you have to make it. This is why we probably would have covered validators, broadly first and then gone to CLI. But before you hop on your call, like, why do you think this matters to your average cloud, right? Like, we just have like normal clouds here who might not understand what a CLI is or like why the hell we need this. Like, why is this bullish for Cloud Fam?
Yeah, to be honest, if you're just a sort of like a normal LST holder or liquid staker, this shouldn't matter to you, right? Like you shouldn't even be bothered with the intricacies of how block rewards are shared and all that, right? But this indirectly matters to you because now that block rewards are easily computed and shared, it just means that all your LSTs, all your favorite LSTs, will enjoy higher APY if the validator operators choose to share their block rewards, right? So
Yes, the
yeah.
sorry.
No, yeah. And I was about to sort of like tease what we're launching soon also is now that block rewards are easily shared, the next problem that we are trying to tackle is to make it easier to verify that they are being shared, right? So this is a very exciting feature that we're launching soon as well. But I'll stop here for now.
Okay, I'm gonna let C Dubs, get on his next call, and I'm just gonna rant about our Sanctum block rewards CLI for a little bit.
For
So
sure, for sure.
thank you, CW.
Don't forget to tell them about the 13 validator LSTs that are claimed, right? That's a big step for us as well.
Yeah, bro, you're spoiling things. You know what? I
I,
said I
I, I
wasn't gonna
should.
kick people off. I'm kicking them off. So I'm sorry. I said I wasn't gonna do it on this call, but we're spoiling things. So again, here is a QR code to our GitHub. It's called it's for Igneous Labs. It's all open source. You can check it out yourself. Actually, one really interesting thing, like I don't want to dox the developer that built this, but if you're watching this, I want to say thank you so much for doing this so quickly. And another thing too was I had a call with this developer, literally, excuse me, cloud dev, literally today, and I was like, hey, so like, how long does it take for a validator to compute, the amount of rewards that they're getting in an epoch as a leader, right? And they said, well, it kind of depends on the amount of slots they have. It's like if it's like 500 to 600 slots, we're looking closer to about 5 minutes. And if we're talking about like Jupiter size, Jupe Soul, and they have a lot of slots that they get in Epoch. then you're looking at around like maybe 15 minutes, right? I am not kidding you. Within 2 hours of having that call with him, he made an upgrade to the CLI so that it computes within seconds. So it went from like 5 to 15 minutes in seconds, and he developed that within 2 hours. Like I will be definitely talking about this on the next forecast, but it just was so impressive for me to just have like a casual conversation with him, and then he was very dissatisfied with my question about like, wow, that's a little too long, right? And then he just immediately upgraded it. It's obviously hasn't been approved yet by the team, and like we're and still TBD on this upgrade. But still, even though it's just a demo of the product, like I was just so incredibly just impressed by how quickly they moved. So yeah, that's it in terms of ranting about the Sanctum Block Rewards CLI. If you're a validator and you're looking for a very easy way to not only calculate the amount of priority fees you're getting per epoch, but also very easily configure like how much of the profits that you're sharing from priority fees to your LST. The Sanctum Block Ward CLI is a great tool, and we hope you give us feedback and try it. So that's it for the Sanctum Block Rewards CLI. And next, we are going to move to, oops, well, you know what? I'm just going to bring Alkeen on the stage real quickly. Or excuse me, it's Alkine. I keep messing that up. I'm so sorry. Hi Alkine, how are you?
Hey guys, happy to be here.
Yeah. So Alkine is Alkine predates my time. He's obviously OG, not just a Sanctum like cloud dev, but he's also, was a stellar community member for the longest time. FP always raves about like how Alkine went from community member to cloud dev to like actually a lead. So it's like I don't know. I'm just Alkine, do you mind telling us a little bit more about your story, like just going from community member to being like a really, really essential part of the team?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's been a very long journey. I started looking at like Solana back when Ethereum was like very expensive to do any transactions on Ethereum. So evidently, I had to look at Solana, and it was starting to get some like traction. And so I started looking at Solana. It was very cheap to do transactions. I started learning about DeFi, and then it was NFTs. And NFTs was were like a big revelation for me. I started being very involved in many communities. A lot of people may know me for my work, I guess. Not really work because I wasn't part of the team, but for being part of the famous Fox Federation community. And then it was my dream to work for a big DeFi protocol at some point in my career, I guess. And I discovered Sanctum. I knew about Socian, but Sanctum wasn't really popular at that time. So then they started like releasing new features with like the reserve, so like a way to delay and stake your soul. And so that's when I started to know about Sanctum. And I remember that tweet of Jay, who was looking for like community members or like community managers. And so I applied, and here I am working for Sanctum.
Yeah, I mean that's an incredible story. I mean, I've heard some stories that are similar to this, but yours definitely takes the cake. I What I especially appreciate is like you were so early in the Sanctum community. Like it's not like you came after Wonderland, and I'm if you came here after Wonderland, I'm so glad that you're here. But clearly, like Alkine is, he no, he's definitely one of the OGs.
Yeah, and a good learning from this, I guess, is like if you really want to like put in the work and time to learn about something, to contribute, then you can eventually make it to a big team, and that is very fulfilling. So yeah, very happy with my choices, and very happy to be at Sanctum.
Right. That's awesome. And we have so many positive comments from you. Like, I don't know if you felt nervous going into this. I didn't brief you very well. I really apologize for that. But people are saying, you're such a great guy, and of course, very handsome, and you're a cracked cloud. So, thank you so much for making the time. I know you're super busy. I'm trying to work on all kinds of things for the clouds. So, really, really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
But actually, so we it's kind of funny because ideally we would have just talked about this first, right? Like given a brief overview of Sanctum validator LSTs and then covered the CLI. But obviously for time constraints, like we had to do C-dubs first. But right, we again, for emphasis, guys, like we launched permissionless Sanctum validator LSTs for free for every validator as a public good. And we over 10x'd the amount of LSTs that we have. And Totally, I don't know if everybody knows this, but like Totally saw our tweet about this public good, and he said if I could do it all over again, the stake pool contract would have been live before launch, and each validator would have their own LST. Thank you, Sanctum. I mean, usually when Totally just wants to be kind of I don't know, nice, he'll just do like maybe heart 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 or fire 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 or just like robot arm robot arm robot arm. But he gave us like a whole this is how you know he really likes it, right? Like when you saw this tweet, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean it's huge, right? When Tali bothers and like starts writing fucking essays, it's I mean like this is a fucking essay, right? Like because like most of the time it's limited to 3 characters. So this is huge for us, and the team felt very very nice, very happy about this, and yeah, it really helped. Yeah, it helps us push forward, and yeah, we are like leaning in the right
Yeah.
direction, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you remember I mean, of course you remember the because it was just like a week ago. Like we shipped this so fast, but there was a lot of kind of doubt even within the team. Like, is this gonna work? Like, is this a good idea? Should we do this? And like to have literally, the founder or co-founder, excuse me, of Solana, like give his seal of approval and say like, if I could do it all over again, I would do it exactly this way. Like, thank you for this public good, Sanctum. Like it's just I never thought in my wildest dreams, while you guys, not me, while you guys, the cloud devs, were coming up with this idea, that this would be the outcome, right? Like it's just absolutely incredible. I'm shocked, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's huge, fucking huge, man. Love it.
So there might be some people here who actually don't know what validator LSTs are all about. So if you don't mind, do you mind if I play last week's video?
Of course. Go ahead.
I have Alkine's approval.
Of course you have.
Okay, everybody in the chat, type Alkine approves. AA, Alkine approves. Let's go! There's only really 2 types of approval I care about, all right? The first type of approval I really care about, I mean, obviously, if I can get it from Tolly, I'll take it from Tolly. But Alkine's approval is also very, very important to me. And, one thing in that video, I think that, most people who are unfamiliar with validator LSTs might not know is that we charge 0 management fees. I would like to emphasize this. We, the Sanctum team, charge 0 management fees. I won't make any other comments on other architectures that might charge up to 3% fees, but we charge personally 0 management fees. This truly was about providing the best. My APY is bigger than yours, right? So it's about providing the best yield for users who are staking their Solana. We strictly believe that liquid staking is better than native staking. There is no good way to share SIMD 96 priority fee rewards to native stakers. LSTs are the best way to do that. And we just announced, Sanctum Block Reward CLI, which makes it super easy to, share these priority fees with stakers. And Alkine, the main reason why we brought you along is because you're doing all the hard work to onboard these validators, right? Like, quite shockingly, there were some LSTs that we did not mint because there are some big validators, we won't name names, who like might have been concerned. We were trying to be courteous, right? Like, hey, if for some reason you guys feel uncomfortable with this, like we won't mint your LST, like that's totally fine. And we didn't do it for them, right? But after we launched it, like we we got messages from those exact teams that we like excluded from our free LST launch, and they said, "Hey, I can't find my LST. What could you could you please, mint the LST?" And we're like, "Oh, we didn't think you would want one. Yes, absolutely. We will make it for you, So I mean, Alkine, could you tell us what the kind of experience has been over the last week, and then we'll move on like to how to claim. But first, just like what's the experience been like for you?
Yeah, it's been interesting because eventually, I mean, we scaled the amount of LSTs 10x, and so our infra wasn't quite robust. Like, I mean, it was pretty good. Like we decided to do a lot of upgrades into like the announcement so that we knew it would work, and I mean, it worked. But we can always do better, right? And so we found a few like bugs and stuff, and so we really spent the week fixing these. And but apart from that, and I mean, again, it was like really small bugs. And yeah, I mean, it's really easy for a validator now to reach out to us and claim your LST, which we will be talking about very soon. And you really want to do this, even if you don't want to like share block rewards. It's a good way to align your community even further with like what you do as a validator, because like it gives your community another option to hold stake, which is liquid, and this is huge. We will have many DeFi integrations for hopefully all of the Sanctum LSTs in the future. So this is something you may want to consider. And yeah, I mean, it's just a better way to, as you said, hold Sol in a way. Because like we know of these verification systems such as Matrika and stuff on Discord. So it's very easy again to create a community using GoldST. If you want to do it with your native stakers, you may need to create some like new tooling. So yeah, this is like out of the box. You can easily empower your community and have them figure out what you do, like your mission, your values, everything. So yeah, this is something we love at Sanctum.
Yeah. And guys, you thought that, oh man, they didn't have time to make new video. Guess what? We did. So reintroducing validator LSTs. Let's go. Oh man, I'm so
Amazing.
glad to repush validator LSTs. Again, if you're watching, if you happen to be a validator, or if you're watching this on the replay, we charge 0 management fees on your rewards that you pass on to your users. This is a public good. And again, we can build an infinite LST future together, especially with you, our validator partners. All you have to do is reach out to us. And Alkine, this is like the main reason why we brought you here. I think that there's a lot of validators out there who might be kind of aware that Sanctum has launched this public good, but they might not be aware exactly of the process. So could you tell us, like, if you're a validator, what should you do in order to claim your Sanctum validator LST that we have provided for free as a gift to you?
Yeah, so pretty straightforward. If you were running a validator as of the announcement date, I guess, because like if you, of course, recently launched a new validator, then you wouldn't have an LST, but you can still reach out. But yeah, if you had a validator when we made the announcement, then you have an LST waiting for you, and this is very easy to claim it. So all you have to do is go to the Sanctum website. By default, this is going to be the Discover page. And then you will need to search for either your vote account. This is the easiest way to like look for your LST, or you can also use the first 5 characters of your identity. and you will probably find your LST like in the list. And so once you have your LST, all you have to do is click on it. Then you will have a banner showing at the top of the screen, basically saying that you haven't claimed your LST yet, and all you have to do is click Learn More. I believe that's the name of the button. So you need to click on Learn More. This will open like a model. Then you will visit a blog page, and you will have these like instructions you will need to follow on the blog page. So yeah, very, very easy. If you need help at any point in time, you can reach out. But yeah, basically the blog post will say that you will need to verify that you actually own the validator. Because like if you want to claim an LST, you need to prove that you are like the one validator owning the associated validator of like the LST. And once you've proven that, then you can fill the form with like the proof that you own the LST, and we will be taking care of you very rapidly in a matter of hours, maybe days, but yeah, very rapidly. So yeah, so I can go through it again. So let's say, I don't know, we can take an example actually, maybe, but like any of the I don't know how to do it, but like any of the LSTs that hasn't been claimed, it's going to be like named Sanctum automated LST. And so you just need to paste your vote account. This will filter the list and just show your LST. Then you need to click on it. So you can go down, I guess, and just click on any of the Sanctum LSTs. Well, this is interesting. Fixing bugs in production. So yeah, just go down, I guess, in the list and click on any of the Sanctum automated LST, because like this one has been claimed. I mean, this one has been deployed already.
See,
But
so many of these LSTs have been deployed in claim. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. So go down a bit more, I guess. Like after the few. Yeah. So there you go. Okay. So we have a bunch. Yeah.
Very nice.
So you can just click on one, any of these Sanctum LST, like automated one, and so you will have a banner. So if you see, you have like a banner where you can click Learn More. So you can click Learn More, and then you can claim the LST, which will open a blog post, and then you just have like very easy instructions to follow to actually claim your LST. So this is like a bunch of CLI commands you will need to run, and then a form to fill. But yeah, very, very straightforward.
Yeah, right. So just to summarize, if you're a validator that hasn't claimed your LST, that's totally fine. All you have to do is to go to the completely redesigned app.sanctum.so website, find your LST, and what's the best way for them to find their LST?
So using your vote account. Yeah. So this is something validators will be very aware of, because like that's what they use every day to actually vote on transactions. But yeah, this is the one information you will need.
Yes. So
the
find your
information.
LST using your vote account, and then once you find your LST using your vote account, you can click on Learn More to claim your LST. So yeah, that's the basic process. And again, all you got to do is go over to the completely revamped app.sanctum.so website, search for your LST using your vote account, and then follow the instructions that we have provided for you in the banner. There's a Learn More button in the banner of your unclaimed LST, and then you can just follow the instructions, which is just a bunch of CLI commands to claim your LST. So like, that's the process. It's so simple. And we've already had like, I think, 13 validators claim since last week, and I expect like a cascade and a tidal wave of more validators to come and claim their LSTs.
Absolutely, let's fucking go.
Okay, I love Alkine. I told everybody before the call that I would curse 90% less, and then Alkine is filling up my cursing budget. So I really appreciate that, actually.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's just say let's go.
Don't you love these animations, by the way? I mean, C-Dubs and the team do such a great job making delightful products. This is just beautiful and fun to play with, seriously. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
It's really nice.
Well, Alkine, thank you so much for joining us at the the Sanctum forecast. Is there like anything, I'd want to go back actually to, we got CW's opinion on this, and I don't know if you mind saying a few words here, but here at Sanctum, we're here to support each other as one big family, right? Usually what we say here is like we're here to celebrate each week, right? Like it's all party vibes, and like Sanctum is so happy and we're shipping so much stuff. But I think for this week, just looking at the vibes and the timeline and just everything that's going on, we have so many people who are joining the stream now. They weren't here in the very beginning. And I just think that it's incredibly, incredibly important to let people know that, like, we know that there's a lot of sad clouds out there. We know that the market is very rough. Um, and, you know, we're here for you. Like I try to answer every single message that comes in my Telegram. I try to message every message that comes on Twitter or in my DMs. Like I really, really try. Like I don't know if I'm succeeding, but I know I really, really try to hear people out, even if they just want to yell at me and say like a bunch of negative stuff. Like that's okay. It's totally okay. Like that is the responsibility of a project, is to like hear their community out, even if it's not like the most positive things. Like that's okay. It's like you need to take the feedback, and some of it is going to be like super useful, and some of it is just like listening, right? And we had a big discussion earlier with C Dubs about like what the vibes were like on Solana, like after the FTX crash, and like how there was still like really, really strong community, and there was still a lot of builders who were on the chain, and focusing on those fundamentals, was what was important. That's how, we took a dead Solana and then brought it back to where it is today. So I'll kind of believe that you were here as well during that time. So,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would love to just get your opinion, and just like, what message do you have to some sad clouds that might be out there?
Yeah, so I very much echo what C-Dub said. I think one thing, and again, not financial advice, but one thing that has worked very nicely for me over the past few years. So like the story is that I round tripped everything I had. So I made a like some money with NFTs, and I never sold. So it was very hard for me when FTX happened, but then I decided to zoom out, and I was very like convinced that Solana would be the chain. And of course, it's also I was lucky, right? This is a lot of luck, but conviction matters. And so if you have conviction, and if you decide to zoom out, then you will not be affected as much. And so, of course, we all have like different exposures to the market and stuff. But this is one advice I would give. If you can zoom out, if you can choose like bags you are happy with, and this can be like just Bitcoin, I don't care. But yeah, if you decide to zoom out and see this as an investment, or like, I don't know, like, I don't know, yeah. But it's much easier. It's much easier if your time horizon is much bigger, I guess. And so this is something that really worked for me, and something I would advise, I would recommend to
Yeah.
everyone
So of
listening
course,
here.
yeah, right. And like, this is not financial advice. Like, we're not here to provide financial advice, but we are absolutely here to provide support. Like, unequivocally here to listen to people. So, if you guys know my Twitter handle, it's Eno. If you need someone to yell at, or you need someone that you want to give suggestions to, or if you need someone just to like hear you out, like I'm here. I will try my best, to really make the time to hear you out, and listen to your story, and really just try to understand where you're coming from for real. And again, Alkine, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it, and thank you for those very kind words to
Yeah.
the Cloud fam.
One last thing, if you allow.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this is like usually the first thing I do in the morning is actually looking at like the community Discord. So if you're in help of like support, or anything, just feel free to tag me and or ping me, and that's probably the first thing I'm going to be seeing in the morning. So yeah, feel free to do that. Don't hesitate. And again, focus on fundamentals, I guess. Build, and the rough times will pass.
Hmm. And again, fundamental means building delightful products and assembling the most earnest community. And that way we can build the best possible Sanctosphere, which is Sanctum the platform, obviously Cloud the token, and the family, which includes governance, right? So again, we're here to support each other. We're here to listen to you. We understand that there's frustration. The entire market is horrible right now. There's a lot of noise in the timeline, but you know what? We need less noise and more signal. So again, this is our message to sad clouds everywhere. In fact, we have someone who said, "I want to reach out to Eno for yelling reasons." That's totally okay. 100%. I actually mean that genuinely. Like, I don't love being yelled at, but I can definitely take it with a smile, and I can definitely take it with empathy. And I don't have, I only have 24 hours in a day. But seriously, like I would try to make the time as much as possible to listen to community members. Um, so yeah, Alkine, thank you so much for your time. And we're gonna move on to actually, since we talked so much about community, I think this is a perfect segue. For people who are just joining us, on the call, we have 3 agendas that we're covering today. Of course, we were covering Lightning Strike, which is like the latest and greatest updates to Sanctum. If you missed them, don't worry, just watch the replay, right? And Alkine had a huge hand in helping us, not only push for validator LSTs, but also helping validators like claim those LSTs. And we Cloud You, we're going to cover that next, which is to talk about like what we're doing with the community, some of the progress that we've made, actually hear directly from community members. And lastly, of course, we're going to be covering our governance. So we'll be talking about the latest upgrades to Funtarchy. So okay, Alkine, any last words before we go? I mean, you
No,
go.
thank you.
I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you very much, guys.
I'm
Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right.
That's
Bye.
it. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, sorry. Oops. Sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. Okay. Bye. See ya. Okay. Yeah, I got some negative feedback about kicking people off the stream. Like, I thought it was funny, but I guess some people found it maybe egotistical. So, like, I'm really sorry if people took it that way. I actually do really, really love my cloud devs, and they work so hard for us. People say, bye, Alkine, and he also, the Anch said that he was going to yell at me earlier, and he said, bro, I'm just kidding. It's okay, totally fine. But if you actually did want to yell at me, it's cool. And Flog Ross obviously is like, you too, my cloud. Okay, so moving on. We're still not done with Lightning Strike, guys. We announced, 3. Actually, we're going to announce 3. We announced 2 big updates, right? So number 1, we're doing a repush for validator LSTs, and for people who are just joining the stream, one really exciting development this week is that Toli, really approves of our validator push. He really, really enjoyed it. So like we're so thrilled about that at the Sanctum team. We never thought that we'd like actually get like direct support from a co-founder of Solana. This goes beyond anything that we expected. Like when we saw it, we were giggling literally, just very, very happy. And obviously we also launched a CLI, and the Sanctum Block Reward CLI allows you, not you, but validators, right? So if you're a validator out there watching this, we've launched a new utility for you. It's so easy now to compute your block rewards for each epoch. It goes back to up to 5 epochs. You do have to do it for each epoch. We are in the process of making some very, very significant performance upgrades to the CLI. It only took the Sanctum team 5 days to build this thing. So just another demonstration of how cracked our cloud devs are. And also, you can very easily, as a validator, configure your block rewards. What that essentially means is you can decide the percentage of priority fee rewards that you pass on to your LST, upwards to 100%, because now with SIMD 96, Solana Improvement Document 96, the priority fees that are passed on to validators have doubled from 50% to 100%. So using our CLI, you can very, very easily pass on yield to your stakers via LSTs. We here at Sanctum believe that LSTs are strictly better than native staking. For native staking, you have to build all kinds of custom tools to pass on the yield, cranking or building a claim web page to claim your rewards, and then the users have to wait for like the rewards to accrue enough to be worth the Solana transaction fees to claim them. It's just a mess. Just use LSTs, all right? If you're a validator, I know a lot of you are using native staking. you have a free LST that we have provided for you as a public good. We charge 0 management fees. And Alkine has described the process by which you claim your unclaimed LSTs. Just go to app.sanctum.so and you can claim them today. Okay, I'm sure people are bored to tears about me talking about CLIs and validator LSTs and blah, blah, blah. Now give the people what they want. All right, what are we giving them? Cloud staking coming soon. And when you say coming soon, oh my God, you said this last week. Oh, you said this last week. You said last week it's coming soon. It's coming soon, like literally in a couple days. So like we did say that we were very careful not to commit to like a very, very specific date because we wanted to have a little wiggle room to we want to make sure that if we do cloud staking, we do it right. So part of the mission of making, very delightful product is you need to make sure that it functions 100% perfectly. You can't always get there, but sometimes a couple of days helps. And we promised, if you look at the footage from the forecast number 4, which is last week, we said it was coming next week. It is coming this week. It is coming in just a couple of days. So cloud staking will be live. I see that there are a lot of very excited people in the chat. So like Nicholas says like cloud, let's go. I think there's a little typo there. Foie Gras says let's effing cloud, right? I would love to get some we cloud you in the chat, just to get some family vibes. But yeah, cloud staking is coming soon. And by soon, we mean this week. We are not reneging on this promise. I got a lot of messages from nervous clouds, right? People in the cloud fam who are like, hey, don't see any announcement posts for the staking. Is this happening this week? Are you guys going to delay? No, we are not going to delay. It is happening this week as promised. And it's going to be in a couple of days. Don't want to commit to a specific date because like if there's some experience that we just need to make sure that it's tippy top perfect, we want to make sure that it's absolutely shiny and brand new and working for you. So thank you very much for your patience. We really appreciate that. For all the very anxious clouds out there who are worried about whether or not cloud staking is coming, I promise you it is coming, and it is coming this week. And by the time we get here on the next forecast call for next week, we're going to be celebrating because it will be live, and I am just so happy. So if anybody has any questions about staking, like again, feel free to reach out to me or anybody on the team. I am most active on Twitter and Telegram. Other team members are most active on the Discord. So yeah, you will always have a Sanctum team member somewhere to answer your questions. But yeah, I'm so excited for this. Cloud staking is coming very, very soon. And by very, very soon, I mean this week. All right. Okay. So this next section is definitely an experimental section, but I'm probably the most excited for it. I'm going to check my Telegram messages very, very quickly to see whether or not there is a community member in this call right now who like I really want to. Oh, not able to attend the call, but he's actually here. So I see. That's fine. We're gonna move on to, Nexus, the best clouds we have. I'm gonna bring on, one of my dear friends that I made this week, Lucio. Hi, Lucio. How are you?
Hey guys, how are you, man?
Yeah.
Great to be here, man.
We should probably. Yeah, no, it's thank you so much for making the time. I know that we'd finish within an hour. Do you need us to bring on
Yeah.
Hafa? I just want to make sure. Do you need us to bring on Hafa?
No, I'm okay, man.
Oh, you're good? Okay, good. Actually, do you mind if we bring on Hafa? Is that okay?
I think he got a stage fright, I think.
Oh, I see. No problem. Well, I think a lot of people might be confused here. Like, what the hell is Nexus? Like, and the people need to know what Nexus is, but more importantly, I think they need to understand the context, right? So the whole
Yeah,
point
yeah.
of we cloud you is we are trying to prove to everyone out there who's watching that we do take community feedback very, very seriously. And as soon as I joined the Sanctum team, one of my first initiatives was just to figure out who are our strongest community members, both on Discord as well as Telegram, get into those chat rooms immediately, and then start talking, right?
Yeah.
So, within, I think, a couple of days of joining Sanctum, I had already reached out to the Nexus boys. And so we will talk more about what Nexus is. Lucio, I want you to give a full introduction. But yeah, just to give full context, like there's other people on this call, for example, let's see, where is he? Well, this comment is kind of a little irrelevant, but like if you delay, we need to see how ripped FP is. Fog Ross is also another example of a community member. And also, I also spoke to another community member, Nucky. I literally take one-on-one calls, guys. Like, I will give you my personal calendar, and you can schedule time with me, and then I will talk to you, and I will listen to like the suggestions that you have. So, like, I
Yeah,
spoke
we
to
did,
Fog
right?
Ross this week. Yeah, also spoke to Nuckyverse this week. And Lucio, obviously, like we had a whole group call with some of our strongest cloud masters and the cloud fam. So yeah, like we at Sanctum really take community feedback seriously and literally take time to talk to you guys to figure out like what you guys are thinking, what you guys need, and like to organize things and to help. So Lucio, I'm so sorry for talking so much. Would you
No,
mind like introducing yourself and telling us what Nexus is?
sure. Hey guys, some of you guys know me from Discord, and from X. I'm an artist, traditional artist, because I come from a background of a family that has many artists, like my father, my grandfather. And then I've been on crypto since 2021, around that, because of NFTs, so as a creator, but in Ethereum, so it didn't work out really well. Nothing happened much. And then in time, I just came to Solana, and it was like much better. I loved it. And Sanctum is like the most special place I found, and I'm really glad to be here with you guys, and the vibes are really cool. Even as you said, that the market's not good, but ups and downs of crypto is normal, right? And then JD put up a group, he put a research topic there, a thread about making a podcast, and then he put up a really cool team of Earnest Clouds, and here we are, like we developed a whole podcast, a lot of episodes already. He called me to do the co-apps, but then I'm always commenting on them, on the art I do, in the end of the program, in the end of the show. And it's been really cool, man, to have the support of the community, to be here, I love it.
So, I mean, just to repeat your journey, I mean, so JD and a couple of very earnest clouds, part of the cloud fam, put up a proposal at
Yeah.
sanctum.so, and the proposal was for a community podcast, right? The proposal was for a community podcast. In fact, we have our very good friends over at Jupe and Juice, and they say like we crowd the Nexus gang, and like that's so sweet. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Jupe and Juice. Like
Yeah, we love
like
it.
I wrote this tweet that was kind of really aggressive, and I was I was like,
Nah,
"We're
it was
gonna
a
make
joke.
the
You
best
can tell.
community podcast." Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can
like
tell it's a
I
joke.
do, and yeah, I mean, I intend to make the best community podcast, but the problem is that we have Jupe and Juice, and Jupe and Juice is like a very good podcast. It's like the community podcast for Jupiter. I mean, like we have a lot of work to do to even get to parity. Like I'm not like forget being number one. Like we need to catch up to Jupe and Juice, and from there, I'm hoping to have like maybe even crossover episodes and like maybe a little bit of like friendly competition, but like that in turn creates like the synergy between like really earnest clouds as well as like very happy cadets, and like
Yeah.
we could just, and in fact, I think a lot of people in this audience are both cadets and cloud fam, right? Like it's not
Indeed, yeah.
like we're super aligned with each other, so I Sax, had the pleasure of meeting you over at Catstanbul. I mean, thank you so much for being so kind, and I apologize if my bull posting on Twitter was taken a certain way. But really, I just my main purpose here is just to motivate every community member who's here at Sanctum. But obviously, like this is not PvP. This is PPP.
Yeah.
We're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
So
what really struck me as something special about Sanctum is that we got through the research, and we got in touch with the team. Like they really let us do a lot of things. Like they gave us the green light to experiment. To just do it. Like FP always says. And this is really a differential. About Sanctum. I really love it.
Yeah, I mean, like again, even one of our top devs, Alkine, was a community member first.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm talking
can't
about.
think
Yeah.
of a more community-focused team than us.
Yeah.
Like, except I feel so weird because Sax is on this and he's being super nice, and I'm saying we're the best, and I'm like, well, Jupiter is also very, very good. So like, I'm not trying to throw shade or any disrespect. There's a lot of noise on the timeline. But like, we here at Sanctum are unequivocal supporters of Jupiter. We think that there's a lot of noise and false information out there. And optics is not the same thing as on-chain truth, guys. So, hold yourself to a higher standard, especially if you're pointing fingers. But hey, we're here to talk about Nexus, right? So, for the people, we have over 10,000 people. And the reason why I didn't share the Twitter handle here is that we might change the Twitter handle, but we have over 10,000, people here, and we're going to have you on again. Don't worry. And I just want to let the people know, like, what is Nexus all about? What are the plans? Like, what are we doing with Nexus?
Yeah, so just for a perspective, we were actually bridging the team and the community for a while, before forecast, right? And it was really cool. Like we had the LSTs coming, we had the community member coming each program, then we started Solanaverse to get all other Solana projects that were related to Sanctum. And now things are changing. We're changing the whole model we're working with, and we're still figuring it out. But we're gonna focus on community now. Like, the community is the main focus, and like bringing all our experiences. Focusing on earnest clouds. Initiatives, and we need now it's the moment that we need to stay together and create a lot of cool things, like art. I'm posting many projects on research about getting artists together and do Sanctum art. I really want this to kick off. I'm starting like cloud spotting, that anything has to do with clouds. I want people to create. And I started with the actual physical art. It was hard because many people are not like into physical art, but I wanted us to touch some art, to begin with. But now I'm starting a new phase of this activity in which like digital will be, of course, permitted, and no AI for the moment, like we can move on to AI later, but like one step at a time, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, talking about the Nexus positioning, like, I get a lot of comments on Twitter that are like, oh, the forecast podcast, like the Sanctum forecast podcast. And I'm like, no, the forecast is not a podcast. The forecast is the latest and greatest updates at the Sanctosphere. Nexus is the podcast that we are happily supporting. It is not run by us. I am not the host. I'm the host here. But over at Nexus, the cloud community, the cloud fam, you guys are the hosts. You guys run the show. And all we can do here at Sanctum is to provide you with as much support as possible. You guys have been very earnest. You guys have always provided the most honest feedback, whether it's good or bad. I mean, like, sometimes you guys are very bullish, and sometimes you guys are very frank. In fact, we have plans to create like a Sanctum FUD corner. We might rebrand that. But the whole point of that section of the Nexus podcast is for, not only the Nexus, podcast, but also just like community members, if they have legitimate complaints about like how we're going about things, or they think that we can improve things. Like, of course, we're not going to make everybody happy all the time. But what you can promise is that you'll hear them out, and you might not agree with what they're saying, but at the very least, you can hear them out. And perhaps you hear something that just makes a lot of sense, right? So Nexus is just a platform where the community, and I will be joining these podcasts, by the way, as a participant. I don't want to talk more than 10% of the time. I'm tired of hearing the sound of my own voice. But yes, like, totally, here to support you. And like, we just talked, like, literally, I mean, it was my morning. Like, it was like, what, an hour-ish call? I don't quite remember. But yeah, I mean, just general impressions. Like, do you think that we're doing an okay job listening to community? I don't know. I'd love to get your actual live feedback. Let's do FUD Corner right now. Sanctum FUD Corner.
Oh yeah, you are, man. Like I said, like, name a project that has such a cool research forum. Like, everything is discussed. The team is always on Discord too, always giving back to the community, like, the feedback. They're always talking about everything we say and feel. So yeah, and I think the feeling that some people are feeling bad about the project, just think that everything is a long run. Like, we can't thinking short terms now, man. Like everything is going really well for Sanctum. Like the TVL is incredible. There's so many things being shipped. Like we can't like be pessimistic, man. We need to like really stay focused and believe in it. And that's how I feel.
Yeah. Positivity, optimism, support.
Yeah.
And also most importantly, like you can't just ask people to support you. Like I see this from projects all the time, like even some like top projects. This is definitely not Jupiter, because Jupiter listens. But they say they want community support. They say that they care, but they don't give the time. And if you don't give the time, do you even really care, right? Like we are very, very willing to make the time, and like my time is not scalable, but like we need more earnest clouds to join and help. Like this is a whole network, this is a whole family where we support each other, and like yeah, you might not always be able to get in contact with me or FP or any other like member of the Sanctum team all the time, but like you should have like a network of cloud fam that works together to like really hear your concerns. And if you're watching the forecast or you're watching these impromptu governance sessions, then you're learning like what exactly we're thinking. The biggest promise that we're making to the Cloud Fam for 2025 is that we will over communicate what we are doing throughout the year. Progress is not linear. Progress doesn't just go like not enough. NY Soul, this week it really doesn't feel like a laughing sort of, like let's celebrate type of vibe. What it really feels like to me is like this week is really more about supporting, right? So like I do love to be happy. I do love to celebrate. We did launch a shit ton of oops, that was my first curse word, I think, of the stream. We launched a lot of products this week, and we are very happy about that. But it just seems like super inappropriate to like laugh and have a great time and to celebrate when people are feeling real pain. And like we hear you, honestly. So like I'm trying to be like very cognizant of that, and I'm trying to be very empathetic to that, and I want to do right by you guys. Like I just don't want to pretend like everything's okay. Not everything is okay. Like I know this, the entire market is down. Like let's not, it's so tone deaf to just pretend like everything is totally okay. Like things are rough out there, and that deserves acknowledgement. And true, but love your energy, which feels a bit lacking today. No, I have plenty of energy, trust me. I got plenty of energy, grinding, burning the midnight oil. I'm burning the candle from both ends. And Lucio also, he was very, very busy today. Like he had a lot of personal things, and he still made the time to come out here. And I made him wait for like an hour before he could start. I'm so sorry, but yes.
And man, the LSTs are always working, for us. Like they never stop, right? So our SOL is always increasing. Like that's what Sanctum is about as well, right?
Yeah. Do you have a reaction to staking? Like staking is live now, isn't that amazing?
No, it's amazing. Yeah. I just added the staking emoji on Discord now.
Yeah, staking is not live. Staking will be live in a couple of days. If you just joined the stream and you're like, did he just say staking is live? Where is it? No, it's not live yet. It will be live in like 2 days, but we promised last week it would be available this week. It will be available this week. No delays. So sorry for cutting you off. I just had to correct that real quick because there are new people on the stream, and I don't want them to think staking. But cloud staking is coming this week in a couple of days, and we're super excited for that. Yes.
And can I say something else as well? Because now all the art activities we've developed, we are putting it all together on a new Drip creator account, and it's called Sanctum Spectrum. The spectrum, like a rainbow, the spectrum of possibilities of colors. So Sanctum Spectrum on Drip, and everyone that creates art for us, like with us, will be like featured there one day. Like we're creating a lot of NFTs there, and it's really inclusive, this platform, because you buy like 1,000 droplets for $1, and you can get tons of NFTs. So it's really cheap, really easy to use, and it's like a way to spread.
Lucio.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Sanctum Spectrum on another call. Is
that
okay?
Okay. Yeah. It's just that everything's interconnected, but yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah. I totally get it. You're working on so many different things, but it's also been like an hour and 13 minutes. So like just gotta be a little yeah. But we will have you and the whole Nexus team like back onto the call in the future, and really appreciate all the work that you do. We are aiming to make Nexus one of the best podcasts in the world. All
Yeah.
about community, all about listening. If you know, can we get some W's in the chat for Lucio? Like, show your love for Lucio and Nexus. You know, like there's definitely a lot more updates that we have to give, and there's a lot of things that we have to work on. But yeah,
Okay.
there will be updates incoming. So thank you very much.
Bye bye. Bye bye, guys.
All right. Oh, so many
Ciao.
W's in the chat for Lucio. We love Lucio. Okay, so we are in on to the last section of the forecast. So we're going to be talking about Funtarchy, and Funtarchy has definitely gone through some upgrades, and we need to talk about original timelines, right? So the original timelines were for Cloud 2, or for any proposal, right? So for Cloud 2, it was like, should Sanctum deploy up to 10 million Cloud in HawkFi and Cloud USDC vaults or Meteor DLMM pools? And, you know, around 7 million of that was just to provide liquidity across a variety of ranges. So anywhere from like 10 cents to 20 cents to, I think, upwards of the 20-cent range. Like we wanted to provide liquidity there. So that way, large players could instantly provide buy tokens with zero slippage, and then they could potentially even like put that liquidity or lock that liquidity. But that the thing is that the feedback on this proposal was I'll be very honest with you, some people support it, but the majority don't, right? It became very clear that this proposal did not have a lot of support. And if you were not at our last discussion, so we had actually, I wish Nucky could come on, and also Foie Gras, but I'm going to just highlight this tweet over here. Yes, over communication is good. Phew, right? Um, so the thing is that Foie Gras, if you're listening, you'll remember you contacted me on Twitter. I gave you my personal Telegram. And then we chatted for a very, very, very long time about governance and kind of like what the direction of Sanctum will be going forward in the future. And we actually scheduled a call. We scheduled a call with Foie Gras. And I think the feedback that he gave at that time was like, look, you can't delay the Cloud 2 vote. You can't delay it. If you delay the Cloud 2 vote, then, you know, it's like you're delaying yet another thing, right? But I really encourage anybody who has the time. It is a bit of a long discussion; it's over an hour, but I encourage you to scan this QR code. And FP and I had a very very thoughtful. Yeah, of course, foie gras. I will not forget Nucky. It was actually oh yeah, Nucky is over here, right? Hi Nucky. So on that call with the community, like again, I do one-on-one calls with community. Like I want to hear what you guys are thinking, especially if you're earnest. Like if you're no offense, but if you're just shit posting and you want to talk to me, um, you know, I don't have time for that. But if you have like real suggestions about like how we should be running our governance and like what we can be doing to make a better sanctosphere, then like yes, absolutely. And Foie Gras is like, don't forget Nucky. Obviously, I will not. So Foie Gras and Nucky, I invited them to this stream, and I really wanted them to kind of talk about like the conversation that we had. So I apologize, guys. I'm just gonna summarize it for everybody here. Thank you for everyone that's joining the Sanctum forecast. So, you know, I had a heart to heart with Foie Gras and Nucky, and they've talked about some of their frustrations about like, okay, like we need to get this Cloud 2 vote out. It has to happen next week, et cetera, et cetera. And Foie Gras and Nucky, you know, I know you guys are in the comments. You know, please correct me if I'm wrong. If you think that I misremember this, like you tell me. Um, but I think at the end of that conversation, there was an appreciation for why it would be wise to delay Cloud 2 because it was so unpopular. And we dig into the reasons for this on this. Like, if you scan this QR code, you can see like a very thoughtful, in-depth discussion. Me and FP were also, you know, listening to community comments there as well to talk about the future of Sanctum governance. So what exactly has changed, right? Well, long story short, you know, the most relevant detail is Cloud 2 will not be going up for a vote today. This was an executive decision by the team. We decided that, you know, it was not going to pass. And by the way, it's not that we want every proposal to pass. It wasn't that it was just the feedback was negative. It's also that the proposal was a poorly written proposal because we were inexperienced with how Futarchy would work for complex mechanisms, right? So if you watch, and again, it's a huge investment of your time, but if you watch this hour-ish long talk by scanning this QR code, you will see the reasons for why Cloud 2 was a not good proposal, right? The main reason for this is that there were way too many variables. First off, it was like too many options. Option 1, we put it into just Meteora. Option 2, we put it Meteora or HawkFi. Then there are other numbers to haggle about. Is it 10 million total? And if so, is it 7 million that we put into liquidity and 3 million into incentives? Should we adjust that in any way? If you look at that proposal, you'll see that there are multiple points of discussion, and it's like not an atomic example. So if you watch this stream that we did, and we did that stream based on the feedback that we got from both Nucky and Foie Gras, we decided that it just made a lot more sense to change what we call our meta governance process, right? So what does that mean? Futarchy is the voting of the proposal of itself based on economic value, right? So you're actually voting on like, what is the economic value of this proposal? In Funtarchy, you don't ask yourself the question of yes or no, right? In traditional democracy, it's very simple to understand. It's like, do you want this bill? Do you want this president? Do you want this person, to be in office, or do you want this to pass? It's a simple yes or no. That's democracy. For Funtarchy, it's a very different question. You are actually not asking yourself yes or no. That's not what Funtarchy is about. It's not about yes or no. Funtarchy is about what is the economic value of this proposal, right? So, for example, if it was like I want to use like 500,000 bananas to like buy back Cloud, right? Then you can kind of like guess what the economic value of the bananas will be. And then you can judge like, okay, if we're using bananas to buy Cloud, then this is how much the economic value of bananas would be to buy Cloud, right? But then you also might decide like bananas spoil very poor, like easily. And so like the value of the proposal, like you can't buy Cloud with bananas, and so like you actually might judge that the economic value of the proposal is like lower, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that Funtarchy is all about judging the economic value of a proposal, and that's why you need to have proposals that are very high quality and likely to increase the economic value of the token, and have atomic examples, like just one variable to consider. 10 million cloud, 7 million cloud, 3 million cloud. Are we doing it for just Meteor votes? Are we doing it for Meteor and HawkFi? So like we did make mistakes this week. We made mistakes with regards to writing the proposal, but our mistakes were not based on lack of effort. Our mistakes were based on like our inexperience with what this would look like in practice, right? So there's a document that we are preparing that will explain the new Sanctum governance process. And if you watch the stream over here, just by scanning the QR code, we got a very helpful suggestion from Jay, who is one of our co-founders of Sanctum, and we are implementing a new drafting process. So during the drafting process, any cloud can put up a proposal, right? It doesn't have to be particularly high quality. It could just be an idea, right? And then it goes from draft to kind of discussion, right? The mechanism by which a proposal goes from draft to discussion is still very much TBD. But during this discussion period, then you will have like 7 days of discussion about this proposal, and then we'll put that up for a vote for 3 days. But first, we need to define the process by which proposals go from community or from members of the team into discussion. So that's one major upgrade that we're making to Funtarchy. Previously, it was just only proposals that the team could put up, but we think that there are so many great ideas from the clouds. So essentially what we're going to be doing is creating a new drafting process, and that's why Cloud 2 will not be going up for a vote. So what does that mean for ASR, right? Like if you're upset and you're like, oh man, there's no Cloud 2 this week, like what does that mean for ASR? Don't worry. You know why? Because we're still going to be putting 15 million cloud for this quarter. I got to figure out the exact dates for this, but it should be about like a 3-month time frame. Give me the benefit of the doubt here. So for about a 3-month time frame, we're still going to have that 15 million cloud. And regardless of whether or not Cloud 2 or not goes for a vote up for a vote this week, guys, don't worry. The rewards will still be there. Okay. And if you have any questions, by the way, about Sanctum governance, like I would love to hear them. I haven't read this fully, but I love Yukadal. Do this top traders trading cloud on Vector and Asset with top get airdrop with it? No, they don't. They do not. Traders that will bring Jeshi, could you school us on? Oh, right. So for some people, like if you're still very passionate about Cloud 2 and you actually do want to see it go up for a vote, like we'd love to see people in the community in the draft section of, research.sanctum.so, rework Cloud 2. Like if you guys think you guys can create a better version of Cloud 2 in the draft process, like we'd love to see that. Again, there's a lot of work that the team has to do on our side. And here's the message that I'm preaching over and over again with regards to governance. And Prophet, I wish Prophet was on this call right now, but Prophet says this all the time. He's the pioneer of Futarchy on Solana. He says Futarchy is the first time in human history that that's not true. Futarchy is the first time since Athens since we've experimented with a completely new style of governance. So like Athens is, birthplace of democracy, or a version of democracy, and that obviously democracy has changed and it's very different in different countries. But Funtarchy is literally in the beginning stages, and it's a completely new form of governance that's not just tyranny or democracy, right? So this is an experiment, and it is going to require us to figure out the tooling. It's going to require us to figure out the meta process for this. And again, we had this discussion is much easier to have when I have FP. FP is currently at Mountain Dow, so he's not here. If you again scan this QR code, all this babble that's coming out of my mouth right now, you can get a much more articulate version from our leader, our very aggressive and ambitious cloud, FP. If you just scan this QR code, you can watch the discussion. What does that have to do with Cloud and Sanctum, right? Okay, that's a very good question. So what does Sanctum governance have to do with like Cloud and Sanctum, right? So I have something that I like to call le plan. I have a plan, right? What's the plan? So the plan is we're going to build the best vibes, right? Oh, Albus is here. I hope you guys like Albus. I love Albus. So we have to build the best vibes. We have to bring back the vibes when post FTX, after Solana crashed. They were still very strong builders and strong community. Some just said I met someone else's comment, but shoot your shot. Well, fine, that's no problem. Sorry about that, some digits. But I really do want to tell you about the governance plan. Like, a lot of times governance for most projects is just a meme, and everyone says that their protocol token is a governance token, but we're actually putting our money where our mouth is. So I have a couple of tweets about this. I talk about le plan. So le plan starts with building the best vibes. All right, we have to build the best vibes. And what does best vibes mean? It means like after Solana, after post FTX on Solana, the vibes were horrible. They were horrible. We were all chewing glass. The builders, the community members, everybody who had round tripped huge bags. It was a very sad vibe, and there was a lot of legitimate reasons to FUD Solana at that time. And now, we need that love and we need that community support and we need positive energy more than ever, because the only reason why Solana is back to where it is, like 180 is lower than where it was like a couple of weeks ago, but it's also way higher than $18, which is when I started. It's literally 10x from when I started, right? And this is not financial advice, to be very clear. This is not financial advice. We do not talk about token price on this show regarding cloud. But what I will say is that the only reason why, historically, the only reason why Solana is where it is right now is because we had very dedicated builders and community members who stuck it out through thick and thin. And the builders and community members that I was close with post FTX are my closest friends now. And they're the people I trust the most. And the reason why I trust them the most is because I know for a fact that their intentions are pure and that they were here from the very, very beginning, right? And they were here when things were very hard, right? So step one of the plan is to build the best vibes, right? We're looking long term. We're focusing on the fundamentals. If we build the best vibes, we can attract the best talent, right? What kind of talent are we talking about? We're talking about not just cloud devs on our team who are super important, but we're also talking about community members who make art, community members who help correct misinformation or directly respond to FUD, community members who are writing threads about the forecast, community members who are helping us design merch. Oops, did I just leak something? Yes, I did. That's coming very soon. Community members who are in the Discord staying active, community members who are helping us create a podcast so that we can collect community feedback and listen to you earnestly. Community members who are going to write great proposals. Boom. That's the most important part. Community members who are going to write great proposals. Okay. So let's review the plan again, right? Number one, we're going to build the strongest, best vibes. Number two, we're going to attract the best talent. And it doesn't matter which talent is, we need it. We need it. Best vibes, attract the best talent. Listen to this talent. Respect this talent. Respect this community. Respect the Cloud fam, right? And really, really important to this and key to this is great proposal writers, right? Which is why we had a bunch of things broken in our meta process. Like, how do we put ideas that we get so many ideas in the research forum, and we have no efficient way to put these up for a vote into Funtarchy. Okay, that's not good. We need to fix that. And Cloud 2, we made some mistakes because of our inexperience, but inexperience is not a crime. What is a crime is not learning from your inexperience. So we have learned, and we are very, very quickly going to implement a new meta process that better accounts for community feedback, which includes a drafting process, which will lead into discussion and then voting. We need to fix these mechanics before we push Funtarchy forward, right? So again, the plan, you guys are tired of hearing this, but I'm going to say it over and over again to make sure that it sticks in your mind like an earworm, right? So best vibes, best talent, any talent is very, very much needed, but especially proposal writers and people with great ideas. So how do we define a great idea? We define a great idea as something that brings economic value to Sanctum, right? Economic value to Cloud, right? Those are good ideas. So for example, if you wrote a proposal that said like, we'd like a proposal where like $1 trillion is used. I'm trying to use a ridiculous number. $1 trillion to buy Cloud. Like obviously that would be a very high economic value proposal. But where is that $1 trillion coming from? That's a very different question, right? But my point being is that like these are the types of proposals that we're looking for. What is like staking, for example, is another thing that we are implementing based on Funtarchy. We know that staking has positive economic value for Cloud. I mean, at least that's how you guys voted, right? That's just not just my opinion. That's the market's opinion. That's why that proposal passed. Cloud won. We should implement staking in ASR. The reason why that passed is because the market judged that would bring economic value to Cloud, right? So that's the plan. Best vibes, best talent. Best talent includes, the best proposals. And those proposals, we want you to put them on research.sanctum.so in our newly revamped drafting process. And we will come up with a process by which drafted proposals go into discussion and then they go into vote. So that is the major upgrade that we are currently making for Funtarchy. And not gonna lie, it's still a work in progress. We need your help. So if anybody wants to like kind of comment or like give feedback, so we got a lot of. Will the team provide certain topics for the community to draft proposals around, kind of like a North Star, so we don't start shooting out gibberish? Well, there's a couple of things that we must be like. So for example, Jay, you can stop clicking around real quick. Thanks, Jay. So one of the co-founders of Sanctum he's helping out with making sure that I'm seeing the comments. I really appreciate that. So the first question, and I'll bring that up very quickly. Will the team provide certain topics for the community to draft proposal around, kind of like a North Star, so we don't start shooting out gibberish? In a sense, yes. And so this is what I mean by that. One of one of the topics that we really want is ROI around community funds. Any proposal, any action that requires spending of community funds should be approved by the community. Isn't that a no-brainer, guys? Of course it should be that way, right? If we want to spend community funds, we need community approval. So one category of proposals that we really need for research.sanctum.so for this new drafting process that we will make is that if you have any ideas for how to get very high ROI to use community funds, then we want to hear them, right? So if you guys think that you have efficient ways to use community funds that would increase the economic value of cloud, we want those proposals, right? If you said, hey, throw a party at my house as a proposal, yeah, I mean, yeah, we could use community money to do that, but probably the economic value of throwing a party at your house would not be very good for cloud, right? So again, there's a wide range of ways that we can take it, but anything that requires the expenditure of community funds, we are willing to spend those funds as long as, a drafted idea is put up for discussion, and then we're able to put it up for vote, right? So we're very much looking to hearing your drafts or seeing your drafts. And Nucky, somehow there are always these like weird characters when you type on I don't know what this is, but anyways, admitting inexperience takes a lot of humility. Involving community to draft proposals, discussion, voting with Funtarchy shows how aligned Sanctum is with the community. Congrats for doing this right. This can only happen with earnest leadership. I really, really appreciate that, Nucky. I do, because it's been a very rough week, and also like I've been in Hong Kong, like hosting conferences as well as trying to advocate for Sanctum and generate excitement with other builders and other projects, and still trying to make the slides for this forecast and make the video collateral and making sure that the operations are going smoothly in the back end and taking calls with community members one-on-one, and coordinating between different team members to make sure that delivers. And that's just me. But the rest of the team has similarly exchanged insane stories. So yeah, just really, really appreciate that. Flog Ross also asks, what would be the time frame for a draft to go to proposal to voting? We do not see, like, I don't want to answer this definitively, because if I answer this definitively, someone's going to clip it and be like, you said the process was going to be like this. It's like, we are working on like a full blog post that describe FP drafted it. I provided some comments. Earlier I said, look, if you want to learn everything, all the updates that are going on with governance, like, go over here, scan this QR code. And that's true. If you scan this QR code and you're just curious about what is this guy babbling about, right? Like what is going on with Sanctum governance? Like, he's not making any sense. If you watch this hour-long-ish video by scanning this QR code, or just copy pasting the URL that below it, you will know what I'm talking about, right? Like, how did we end up here, right? But if you don't got time for that, and most clouds are very, very busy, we are going to be publishing a piece over, I believe, it'll either be on the research forum, so research.sanctum.so, or it'll be on blog.sanctum.so. And we'll be describing, like, and we might even do research post plus the blog. We have thoughts about what the process will look like. We'd love your feedback on that as well, especially on research. So I will not commit to a time frame for the draft. But what is pretty clear to me is that, just to answer your question directly, is that, I don't know, if an idea has been there for like a month and like nobody's commenting and nobody's like voting for it, then like probably a clear sign that we're not going to put that up for a vote, right? I would imagine, because you guys are so cracked, that it's going to be pretty clear, like within a week or 2 weeks, like whether or not a draft proposal is going to make it, So yeah, I think that's just about it for the forecast. That's where we are on governance, and I'd love to kind of talk. Ooh, what's going on over here? Right. I'd love to talk about kind of all the things that we covered today, just in summary. So number one, we had Lightning Strike, where we covered all the latest and greatest updates to Sanctum, which includes a repush for validator LSTs, totally approved. a utility for validators to be able to determine the amount of priority fees that they're passing on to their LST. And also we had a great discussion with the Nexus boys, and like we definitely had a community discussion over there. We're going to be pushing that community podcast very heavily. It's a way for community members to either celebrate with us or to complain, and like we're here to listen. And also, of course, Funtarchy, we are redefining the process because there's some inexperience there, and like we need to rectify that and make that better. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I promised myself that this would be like an hour-long stream, and that is not what happened. This ended up being a much longer stream. I don't know if there's any questions or comments or snide remarks. I'm here to listen to it for real. Let's see. Right. And again, we're here to support each other. So if you see any sad clouds out there in the comments, or people are being like super negative in the Discord, or people are being super negative on the timeline, let them be that way, guys. Like, don't be unkind. Like, let's listen to them. Let's hear them out, and let's spread love where we can. And I feel like I'm ranting about kindness a little too much, but I'm really insistent on it. I don't like unkind experiences. Like, even if someone is being unkind to you, like, you can choose to turn the other cheek, and to be reasonable, and to, you might not agree with them, but like at the very least we can be civil. And more importantly, not just be civil, but provide support, right? Hear them out, like understand, they're obsessed with the noise that's going on the timeline, but pivot to long-term fundamentals, which is building delightful product, as well as listening to your community, and building friendships during the hardest of times, because the people that you build friendships with during the hardest of times are going to be the people that you remember for life, and the people that you trust the most. Okay, so that's it from me. I really appreciate everyone's time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's the end of the Sanctum forecast. We cloud you. Bye. Oh, actually, before we go, oops. Hey, Lucio.
Hey, I'm still here.
Yeah. No, just randomly bringing you back on. I don't know if
Yeah.
Alkine is available. I mean, we're done with the forecast now. Do you have any questions about governance, by the way? It's so much easier to do the forecast when I have someone else to talk to,
Yeah.
about
So
about
I
a
feel
specific topic.
it's a little complicated at first, but when you really realize that it's a way to cloud to push forward cloud, right? You understand when we understand that, it's really cool. Like,
could you try to repeat? Like, the reason why I'm asking you to repeat what I said is not because I'm trying to quiz you. Like, look at Lucio. Like, that's not.
Yeah.
I'm actually wondering whether or not did I properly communicate what the plan is. Like, I talked like for 15 minutes about the plan, right? So I'm just wondering, like, could you try to articulate the plan as you understand it?
Man, I think that the most important part is the good vibes, like the community, coming together, like this is what's most important, because that's what defines everything, like the way we feel, the way we feel about everything, about Sanctum, about crypto, we can't like just give it up, and Solana, and believe in it, because we're building like a new world here, right? We're building something different. And democracy, like you said, like we are building a new type of governance, and democracy is not really democratic, in the end. Like we're trying to build something different, like,
Yeah, it's not about yes or no. It's about, like, does this proposal from the draft section all the way to discussion to vote, especially if it involves community funds, does this add economic value to cloud and to Sanctum? Like, that's the real question here. And if the answer is yes, then the proposal should pass. And if the answer is no, then the proposal shouldn't pass, right? Again, we are going to have like much more. See, Lucio, just you being here just makes it so much easier. I love CloudFan. Like I'm not gonna lie, I was sweating a little bit. I'm
nervous too, man. Talking to 10,000 people can do that to you, right? I'm nervous too.
Yeah. But we will have more details about Sanctum governance available very, very soon. We've written a whole piece on it. FP has done a lot of thinking around this. We've provided a few comments, and so like probably most likely on research, it'll be available for comments. So I'll be reading all of those, and also possibly blog as well. We can talk about like this new form of governance. And again, once more for emphasis, like if you tell me, you know, I want to know everything that's going on in Sanctum governance, but then you're not willing to watch this video where we actually talk about the future of Sanctum governance, then not going to make it.
Yeah, we should
Okay.
focus on how philosophical everything is getting, like we're trying to build something different. Like this is the most important thing about Sanctum too. Like progress comes like that, you have to be bold and to experiment, right?
Yes, absolutely. And one last comment from Foie Gras. The plan is clear. Let's effing cloud. Let's get some proposals drafted that will provide economic value to cloud, and then vote on it, or excuse me, try to figure out the economic value in the markets on Funtarchy. So this has been this edition of Sanctum Forecast. Lucio is an OG community member, and just a shining example of like if you're an earnest cloud, like very, very excited to talk to you and actually even work with you a little bit. So thank you so much, and
Thank you.
have a great day.
Bye-bye.